Hi, welcome back to Real Reviews. This is Cody Williams, and we are talking about the movie The Brothers Grimm. Based on the classic Grimm fairy tales that almost everyone has come to know, you could say that this is an interesting take of their many stories all rolled up into one feature-length film. It's a great fictional concept of how the brothers came up with their fairy tale stories, and I really dug it. Set in 18th century French-occupied Germany, folklore collectors and con artists Jake and Will Grimm travel from village to village, pretending to protect townsfolk from fake enchanted creatures and performing staged exorcisms. They are then put to the test when they encounter a real magical curse in a haunted forest with actual magical beings. When I first saw this back in the day, I was fascinated by how dreary and grim this movie is, which lives up to the movie's namesake. This is not like your average fantasy flick because this one is not meant for the younger audience. No, this is a more mature horror-based story. As if you already didn't know, most of the classic Grimm fairy tales, such as Snow White, Cinderella, and others, were originally more gruesome and macabre before they were re-edited. I really like the horror aspect that this movie delivered. Even after repeated viewings, there are some moments that still make my skin crawl. What carries this movie are the main leads that are both portrayed by Heath Ledger and Matt Damon. They both pull their own weight as the titular roles as the Grimm brothers tremendously well. They can get over the top at times, but I enjoy them both. As far as other talent goes, I really like the wackiness from both Jonathan Pryce and Peter Stormare's characters. They really pulled off some great deadpan dark humor that just fit perfectly in this movie. The film's dark humor is another thing I really liked about this movie. It's subtle for the most part, but when a certain something happens, you just can't help yourself not to laugh at how ridiculous it may be, given the circumstance. Deep down, this movie knows not to take itself too serious and embraces that aspect. Another thing I really enjoyed is the film's special effects. It may not compare to the top tier effects used in movies nowadays, but it's not bad either. As a movie to come from the mid-2000s, it actually looks pretty impressive for the most part. Some visual effects look better than others, but it's not entirely consistent. Even though it's a straightforward story, it somehow feels like it meanders a tad overlong than it should be. I don't know how to describe it, but I think some footage should have been shaved down a bit. I do like the fact that the unresolved ending pokes fun at the classic ending line for most fairy tales where it says, "and they all lived happily ever after." I thought that was very clever. If there's anything that I don't like about this movie, it would have to be the fact that it feels heavily derivative of Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, from the mannerisms of the characters, the set design, and down to the similar looking cinematography. I knew while watching this movie that it felt all too similar. It may be a different story with a different director, but you cannot deny the fact that it definitely has a touch of Tim Burton in it. Overall, The Brothers Grimm is not a movie that is meant for everyone. I'm not overly fond about it, but I don't think it's too terribly made either. It definitely had the potential to be something great, but it didn't quite work out too well. Even though I find this to be a guilty pleasure, I do enjoy watching this movie every once in a while. Regardlessly, it's an above average movie at best. I give this movie a B minus. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Keep up with my real reviews.